Good evening, all. I am Annette Latique, your host here at CoachingU4U. Thank you for joining us this evening. You can see us live on Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and many other places. We're saving the best for last. So if you'll just stay in tune with us, we're going to be sharing some incredibly good stuff over the next couple of weeks. We are picking up sponsors, and we are not broadcasting to hundreds. We're broadcasting to thousands. And that is through His grace and mercy. And so, as you are aware, my disclaimer is I don't know everything. I have a lot of experience, both in my personal and professional life. And one of the things that I've learned to do very well over the course of the years is to drop the rock, to stop fighting, to not be at odds with everybody about everything. And that takes practice because sometimes people can be a little difficult, myself included. And so, first off, I'd like to acknowledge my headpiece tonight and the matching earrings, which also has a matching scarf. It was a gift, and as usual, I promised to wear it tonight. And so here I am. I hope he likes it. Thank you. I appreciate it. In learning to drop the rock, before we move on, please hit the subscribe on YouTube, the like, and the share. This is one of those times when we want you to put all of our business in the street. And I'd like to say to small business owners to be reminded that Facebook is good and it provides some things, but it's not everything. You have to reach and reach just a little bit further, sometimes to reach your audience. So it's not all on Facebook. Coaching You for You is anywhere and everywhere you want to be. We're meeting you virtually and we are building our audiences. And again, as I documented on Facebook, pay attention to the S. You have more than one audience, and it's not all on Facebook. Go grow your business, mind your business, and put your business in the street. Drink water, eat fruit, moisturize your feet and hands, and mind your business. I am finally home and quite glad to be here, actually. I'd like to tell you this evening that we are grateful for the opportunity to share this time with you, and we're not going to keep you long. We're going to give you about 6 tips in dropping the rock and keeping your peace. And listen, I don't care who, what, where, how, or why. People, places, and things will disrupt your peace if you allow it. And sometimes we're so distracted, we're not even aware of it. And I share this often as well. Pay attention, focus, and protect your peace. Your peace is everything. I don't care who you're dealing with or why you're dealing with them. Your peace is everything. And remember this, if they don't have time for you, move on. Because when things matter, people make time. They'll make time no matter what they're doing. Even if it's to say, I'll get back to you. So don't waste your time on people who don't have time for you. And tonight, let's talk a little bit about dropping the rock. The rock is all of those things you hold on to that make you unhappy, keep you sad, and keep you fighting. It's those things. It's those things that create clutter in your mind and in your soul and in your heart. Drop them. They're not worth it. Your past is heavy. You don't have to hold on to it, and you shouldn't. I don't care what others say, think, or believe. You don't have to hold on to your past. Move forward and grow. One of President Obama's biggest charges was forward. Remember that in your personal life and in dealing with people, places, and things. Always be willing to move forward. Don't hold on to things just for the sake of holding on to them, just for the sake of having been in a marriage. We want you to stay married, it's for better or worse. But if you're in a horrible marriage and there's adultery, you can and you should move on if that's your choice. But whatever choices we make, for every choice we make in friendships, at the office, in our families, with our spouses, and even with our significant others, they all have consequences. No matter how you make them, why you make them, or when you make them, they all have consequences. And sometimes it takes some of us, myself included, a little bit longer to move on and be mindful and be focused. And so let's talk about it. In dropping the rock, one of the things I want you to know is the only person you're responsible for is yourself. Even if you're a parent, the first responsibility begins with you. Because if it doesn't, you're not going to be able to take care of your children. So remember, the first responsibility is to you. It's called self care. It's not selfish, it's your sanity, especially when you have kids. And for those of us who have children and have raised them through trial and tribulation, there are some folks who want you to think that the whole thing with their children has been perfect. Well, good for you, because it wasn't with me. And it wasn't with many other people I know. There is no perfection. There's just amazing, amazing people, amazing places, and amazing things. So take your time, drop the rock, and stop fighting. And when you stop fighting, one of the things that I realized through my experience is that when you stop fighting, those things, those people, places, and things that used to matter so much don't matter as much anymore, because I found my peace. And in finding my peace, I will do everything I can to protect it. It's what I have. It's me. It's what sails my boat, my peace. And so please learn to say no to the fight, whether it's with people, places, and things. Learn to say no. Turn it off. Step away. Number one. Number two is listen to your gut. You know, some of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life is when I fail to listen and trust my gut. Every single time I paid for it. In friendships, in business ships, in family ships, in relationships, every single time I failed to trust my gut, I paid for it. Thank you. And so please remember that. Say no to the fight. Listen to yourself and trust your gut. And when and where it is necessary, don't be afraid to cut the ties. In most relationships, it's the ties that bind us. But if those ties in marriages, at the office, in friendships, in relationships, in everything that we do, if those ties that are binding are hurting you, cut them. It's not worth it. It's worth your peace. And it doesn't mean that you have to cut them forever. You may have to sever them and repair them at a later date, but don't be afraid to cut the ties. Some of my greatest peace came when I let go, when I actually let go. Yeah, we got to do that sometimes. And so, cut the ties, trust your gut, say no. The next one is self care. And I just spoke about this last week, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share it then and again. Self care is the biggest part of care that's going to matter the most to you. Is your self care. That's what matters the most. I promise you from experience that if you take care of yourself, other things will fall in place. They really will. whether they're falling in or out. Trust the process and walk in your authority and your power. And you've got plenty of it. Trust that. The only person responsible for me is me. I don't care who I love, how I love them, and why I love them. I've made some mistakes, a lot of mistakes actually, and I've learned from them. And I think the most important thing in dropping the rock is learning why you held the rock to begin with, because it's heavy. Let it go. Drop the rock. Let it go. This is for men and women. Drop the rock. Be conscious. Be very conscious of where you are, who you are, what you're doing, and who you're with. It's the company that you keep that matters. I'm going to hydrate on that one, and I hope you will too. It's the company you keep. And dropping the rock, you want to be sure that you are connected to people, places, and things that support you, that is mutual, and brings you some peace of mind. You want the peace of mind. Nobody is perfect. We all come short. But at the end of the day, one of the most important things I want you to do is just believe in yourself a little bit more. Drop that rock and trust the process. I want you to declutter your mind. It worked for me. Declutter your mind. Get all that junk out your mind. The people that you spend the most time with should be talking about experiences and opportunity and hope and some of the challenges they're facing and how they're dealing with them and how they get through and how things work or didn't work and what they do on a daily basis to keep their sanity. Shouldn't be talking about other people. The process and improvement is talking about experiences. I want you to declutter your mind and remember your mind is a weapon. Keep it loaded. The cutoff doesn't have to ever be personal. It's spiritual. It's to protect you. It's to protect your mind. It's to protect your heart. I was in a relationship once after being widowed, and it was a no guard relationship. And by no guard, I mean, I let my guard down and opened up my heart and didn't put up any protection and was almost destroyed in that. And so when I share my experience, strength, and hope, those are the things I'm talking about. Remember that. It's what I've been through. It's the things I've experienced. Your mind is a weapon. Keep it loaded. Keep it loaded with a power greater than you. Keep it loaded with opportunity. Keep it loaded with hope. Keep it loaded with new experiences. Keep it loaded with the opportunity to learn. Keep it loaded with love for you. Keep it loaded with your self care. Keep it loaded with the opportunity to say no when and where, it's necessary. Keep it loaded. Your mind is a weapon, and everything you tell it is going to believe. Everything. Be good to it. Be careful what you say. Don't tell yourself anything. Don't speak anything over yourself that you don't want to come true. And when you're dropping the rock and you recognize your worth, you'll find it so much harder to stay around people who don't. Now, you've read that somewhere before, just as I have. You'll find it so much harder to stay around people who don't recognize your worth. It is about you. It is the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over the other. Remember that. Our greatest weapon against stress, our greatest weapon in our ability to drop the rock and stop fighting. I can't think of one person I've ever had a disagreement with that was worth the time and energy associated with the disagreement. Not one. Not one. And so remember, the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose what we provide up here. It's the spirit we feed that grows what doesn't apply. Please let it fly. I don't know everything. I'm sharing my experience, strength, and hope. And while I'm doing that, I want to be clear about some things as I usually am. You got to believe in a power greater than you. If you think you're the greatest power, you're already behind the eight ball. Now, everybody won't agree with that, and that's okay. Again, what doesn't apply, let it fly. I choose God. I'm a believer, and I tell you that everything I've gone through, every trial I suffered, every time I cried and begged and cried in pain, there wasn't one time that I didn't get to the other side of that with prayer. And the witness to that is that I'm sitting here today and I'm not completely insane. Maybe a little bit like most people, but not completely because I prayed and I trusted in the power greater than me. So drop the rock. Everybody, drop the rock. Say no. Listen to yourself. Trust your gut. Cut ties when necessary. I don't care who it is. Know who your disruptors are. Those are people who interfere with good things. They're disruptors and they distract. Recognize them, accept them for who they are, let them live, and put them to the side. You may have to cut the ties completely, put them to the side. Whatever works for you in your self care, in your peace, protect your peace at all costs. When you practice protecting your peace grows because you instantly start to recognize when and where disruptors and distractions are, and you move away from them quickly. That doesn't mean drop everybody and everything. Get rid of what you don't need, whatever that takes. You're important. You deserve to declutter your life and protect the weapon, your mind, and your heart that's going to guide and direct you. Take it easy. Be good to yourself. Stop fighting. There's somebody everywhere who wants the opportunity to fight with you just because. There are some people, and they're usually narcissists, who become obsessed with others, focus on them, and give them their full attention. There isn't much that can get my full attention except God and my closest family members. There isn't much. I had to practice that. I had to learn that to protect my sanity, which is self care, in practicing self care, and to be conscious. So just be conscious and breathe. I want to take a moment here just to remind folks that life is short. In some form or fashion, people are dying, whether it's by accident or simply by way of life and living. To everybody out there who's suffering today, who's mourning for one reason or another, I lift you up in the matchless and mighty name and pray for your peace. And I hope that you will exhale and pray and recognize that in difficult situations, sometimes all we can do is pray and breathe because the pain is so great. I've been there. I know what it's like to mourn, to be in pain, to be cut off, to be distracted, to be unfocused, to be hurt, to be betrayed. I've been there, and I'm telling you that time and God can take care of a lot of things if you'll just breathe and trust the process. Say no. Listen to yourself. Trust your gut. Cut ties. Remember self care. Be conscious, declutter, and protect your weapons, your heart, and your mind. Have a good evening. Thank you again. I am Annette Latigue here at Coaching You for You. I am extremely grateful for the opportunity to be with you this evening. I appreciate your time, energy, and effort. This is just a moment of motivation and a pop up. We're popping up now on Wednesdays. We may change the time. We might change the date, but it's a pop up. And when we pop up, we're asking you to pop in and put all of our business in the street. Watch the podcast and tell them everything, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Pray for those who are left less fortunate. And remember that we all go through something sometimes, all of us. And for all of those people who look perfect to you, they're not. Protect your peace and protect your heart and your mind. Be good to yourself and be good to others. Drop the rocks, stop fighting, and just be good to you. You don't have to be perfect to be amazing. Breathe and let it go. Recognize your distractors. Hey, I see distractors everywhere. Let it go. Let it go. Drop the rock. Have a good evening. And thank you again. I'm here at Coaching You for You. Put our business in the street. See us on YouTube and Facebook. We appreciate you. Thanks for your time.